Hey, this is Paul. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you for joining this Tread Overland series. I hope you've enjoyed the first two videos. This is the third video, which we're going to cover the Tread ecosystem. The ecosystem being the Tread application, so based on your iPhone and or your Android, and the Tread Explorer application on the web. I'm going to go over both those in detail. I hope you enjoy the video. I hope you get some tidbits out of there that you can help. And please remember to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.
Welcome to the Mountain Man Chronicles, where the spirit of adventure comes alive. I'm thrilled to have you join our journey into the great outdoors. I'm Paul Piazza. I'm your guide through the wilderness and the storyteller behind the Mountain Man Chronicles. I hope you share in our love and appreciation of what this great world has to offer. Here we live in three simple principles: live, learn, and explore. Live, immerse yourself in the thrill of the moment, whether it be overlanding, exploring unique ghost towns, or simply enjoying the serenity of nature. We believe in living life to its fullest. Learn, cultivate that childlike curiosity. Every adventure is an opportunity to learn and discover something new. From overlanding trips to mastering trail navigation, we're a constant journey of learning and growing. Explore. Be comfortable with the uncomfortable. Venture into the unknown. Our chronicles are a testament to the places we've been and the stories waiting to be untold. Join us as we explore the hidden trails to the pristine lakes and the mysterious places this great nation has to offer. And of course, what adventure would be successful without proper planning and the right gear? We'll be showcasing some of the tools of the trade along our journeys. I truly hope you enjoy our chronicles and the journey that my wife and I travel through during our overlanding adventures. Thanks for watching. We are going to dig into the Tread Overland app. As you can see here, take two. Okay, we are going to dig into our Tread Overland app. In today's video, we are going to kind of talk about the Garmin ecosystems, which includes your Garmin Tread Overland, the Garmin Tread application, and the Garmin Explorer web app. Each one, I think, has some unique qualities. Each one offers a lot of ability to do different things. There are some advantages and disadvantages of each application. For example, the Tread app does really good at routing, where the web app is terrible. Now, if the web app did great, I could really replace a lot of different apps. I will say, in all transparency, I still use Gaia, and I still use Onyx. I will be getting rid of Gaia because I don't see the need for it anymore with the Tread Overlander and the Tread app. I still will keep Onyx for now. I am finding that the key areas I use Onyx for is the ability to see parcels, but I'm seeing that in the Tread app, and so I'm wondering if I am going to need Onyx in the future. The reason why I'm getting rid of Gaia is the ability to share apps is not done in Onyx, and I needed an ability to share apps, which I can do on the Garmin Tread application and the web app. So I'm questioning that investment now. Let me take you through a little bit on the application. So starting with the layers. You'll see here has a wide variety of layers, everything from satellite imagery all the way to snowmobile trails. You'll see here you can also look at the type of trails you want to do. So remember this, I'm going to show you something on this later. If these aren't checked, you will not be able to route on them, right? So I don't do 50-inch or wider trails. I don't do motorcycle trailers because I have a Jeep Gladiator. But I do off-road trails and I do on-road trails. I do also paved roads and I do foot trails. So this allows you to bring it up. Another cool thing is you can also look at trail difficulty if you want to, but I'm doing it by trails themselves. I know in this area the trails aren't that difficult. You can also look at campgrounds, you can look at contour lines, public lands, etc. So you have a lot of variety here of different areas you could do when you look at the app. That's that side of it. Over here on the right, think of this as how am I connected to everything. So first of all, the types of vehicle you have. I have my Jeep Mission Overland, which is my Gladiator pulling my Mission Overland trailer. I have my Gladiator, and I have my full-size truck. I have all three vehicles in here. When setting up a vehicle profile, you can set up a variety of them. The trails will route to how your profile is set up. So, for example, with my trailer, it'll prevent me from turning around more, because turning around with the trailer, as we all know, especially off-road, is a real big pain in the butt. So that's a very important step to set up. Of course, map is self-explanatory. Your Explorer library. I have a boatload of collections because I've been using this for a while, and I have a lot of trails. You'll see here I have them all visible so I can see the information on the app. This is basically everything I've ever linked or spotted or done something with at one point or another, be it a waypoint, be it a route or a track. Right? So this is everything. If I want to look at everything, you can also search by name. This is where it would sync. If I want to narrow that down just to waypoints, these are all the waypoints. Get even narrower. I want to see routes. You'll see the icon changes as well. And then tracks. Difference between a route and a track is, think of the number of points that you look at in a given time in a given area. That is really the differences between the two, right? So routes are going to have less. Tracks are going to have more points. And the tracks are up to 10,000 now, where waypoint or routes are about half of that. Waypoints are the individual little markers that you have. I think the waypoints is if I see anything information interesting, because that was an interesting waypoint, right? So if I go up here and I do a search, move this as an area of interest if I ever want to go out there and check it out. And you'll see here when I dig into that, as I mentioned, oh, that's right near the Lance Grant Trust. Also over here, overall, this is in a pretty open area, so if I could find a route to it, I would. And then here's a route to it, so now I might be able to venture out there if I had a motorcycle. Looks like there are roads out there. You'll see here, it rerouted us based on that shaping point. It took us way over here, and then that's great. You'll see here, again, it's calculating at the top. It just inserted a shaping point to carry. So now I'm inserting shaping points along my route. Again, it's set for Adventure Route 4, so it's taking us mostly off-road. If you look here, there is a little bit on-road, but for the most part, it's routing us through backlands. It took us by Coyote Lookout, through Highway 44 for a good chunk of it, but then it's going to take us, as we get out to Bomb Crater, it'll take us out here on some adventure trails. So it's not going to just look for roads, it's going to look for adventure trails. And then after I'm done with that, if I want to save this, I can save this, right? So if I want to go like this, it'll ask me what I want to save it as. Now let's say I don't want to save it. Cancel. I want to rename this. It's in my thing. I want to name what this is. I can do that as well. So current position, areas like that. So also, if I want to hide all that stuff, I can. So let's go ahead and save this. Now, when I'm saving it, it says that's what it's saved as. Edit route. Let's change the name to, we're going to call this a YouTube route. Now, it's saved as YouTube route. I want to make sure I'm saving YouTube route, so save and exit. Now, it's going to ask me some questions here when I save and exit. When I save the route, it's going to ask me a couple questions. It's going to ask me where do I want to save this. I'm going to save it to YouTube. That's a collection I have. I can also add a new collection. This will sync up to those collections as you go and as you set that up. Hit done, and it's saved. Now, I can share this GPX with other people if I want to. I don't have to. I can go back in and edit this route. But we can save this as YouTube route, and it's saved now going out to my collections. Let's see if it's saved yet. Sometimes it takes a little bit, so I'm not expecting this to save, but sometimes I've been surprised. So let's go into our collections. Oh, we have bomb target chosen. That's why. Collections. Let's find YouTube. Let's see if it's saved. There we go. YouTube route saved. So now if I hit sync, in 2 or 3 minutes, when I show you the web app, you'll see that the YouTube route is now saved up there. Now, if I had my Garmin Tread with me and I had that turned on, it would also save it up to the Garmin Tread. That is how the ecosystem works, right? It allows me to put it up on the web. So anybody that sees me tracking me can do that. It allows me to save to the Tread Overlander, any Tread device actually. It'll save there. It also allows me to share it, but it's also in my map. If I wanted to go to this route, I can see it instantly. So that is how you see it. And then I can go back and edit it and do whatever I want if I wanted to, right? So that is how the app works. In a moment, I'm going to show you how the web application works. I hope this was useful. Remember, if you're interested in the Tread device, go ahead and look on my Amazon associate link. Click there. You'll find some good prices on it. Maybe something that you're interested in doing. All right, let's dig into the Explorer app and take a look at what this looks like. The first page on the Explorer, and we're going to go over the Explorer online app at a pretty high level. I am not going to go into plans and devices. I am not going to go to inbox, contacts, messages, social, or account. What we're going to focus on today is the homepage and the map. And the main reason is this has all my personal information in there, and I really don't want to share it to the web. So let's take a look at what we have here for this. So in the home app, you'll see here that I've had, in all transparency, Explorer, and I had a Garmin Overlander, and I have a Phoenix watch. I have quite a few parts of the Garmin ecosystem that all talk to this app, all talk to each other. So part of the reasons why I like Garmin is everything kind of connects together. So messages sent, messages received, tracks, waypoints you can see over time. I have a number of things in my collection. And these are stats from just the recent year is what I have it set for. You can see here I have my subscription for the Tread is the Overland subscription. That's what I have as my current plan. Here's your plans that you can have. In case you didn't know what those are, these are subject to plan change. I use the 24 a month mainly because of that, and mainly because of the unlimited check-in messages and the unlimited 10 minutes of intervals or longer. I like this a lot to be able to check in. I've thought about moving up, but the 2-minute really isn't enough for me to justify it. You'll see here, you can always see where you're at with your event, my billing period, etc. So that at a high level is what's on the home page. You also have some different, here's your app. This does not work with the Tread. This is the Overland Explorer one. So you want to make sure when you download it, you are downloading the Tread app to work with your Garmin Overland Tread. Very important. The blog is always cool to read. I like to read about the different InReach stories and marriages, proposals, different things like that. I hope I never have to be one of the InReach emergency stories. And then the latest releases on latest devices and tips and tricks, which I absolutely love. So that's the homepage. I come here about once a month, just kind of check to see how I'm doing in areas like that. But today we're really going to get into meat and potatoes of what is the Tread app. You can see here right now I have it set at a pretty high level on the map itself, but we're going to pay more attention to this area over here. You can collapse this, first of all, if you want to. A lot of people don't know you could do that, and honestly it's kind of a bear to get it back, but we got it back. A couple of things I want to point out early on in this is, one, if you ever want to see your messages, I don't have any messages because I go through and get rid of all my messages after each trip. I just less clutter. I'm not a big fan of clutter. We can use locate, so you can see here request to locate. So if I have somebody I'm tracking, I can request to locate a user along the way. I can track different users. So if somebody has an inReach and I'm looking at it and they're sharing with me, perhaps my brother Jim, which has an inReach and he goes down near Baja all the time, sends me his thing and I can track what he's doing, watch him as he's running the Baja 500. Yes, I do have a brother that runs Baja. And then I can send him messages if I want to tell him to watch out for the cartel or whatever. I'm just joking around. But, I can send him messages and have fun with them. You'll see here along the main area, there are different areas here. So this is all my waypoints, 1,153 waypoints I have saved in the application. I have 221 tracks. I don't need to keep repeating the numbers, but think of this as a high level of the different areas. So for example, if I want to see all my waypoints, I can. And these are all the waypoints I have over time. So that's every single waypoint that I have. And I have a number of waypoints and a number of other waypoints that I have saved on hard drives that I haven't moved over. So I probably have waypoints going all the way back to the 90s because I've had GPSs for a while. You can import from here waypoints in and waypoints out. So you can share them with other people. You can measure distances. We will go over how to create a route in here. We will go over and how to save a waypoint in here. So now, as I'm looking through things, you can see here, if I want to turn off every single waypoint in here, I can. So I could just see tracks. That's actually a hidden feature a lot of people think of. Think of the eyeballs as a way to decrease or increase clutter on your screen. There's also different ways to apply this filtering of clutter on your screen. So if I don't want to see waypoints, again, I can turn that off. But if I only want to see waypoints for a certain area, I can turn off whatever my collections are and only leave on. So you'll see here with the eyeballs, I only have a few areas, for example, South Dakota, where I have 17 waypoints, 40 tracks and routes in there. So the eyeballs are your way, my solo trip. That one, ghost towns, you could see here, those are ways to decrease and increase. And the reason why they look like clusters like this right now is because we're not zoomed in. It's very important. So think of the eyeballs here of ways to decrease and increase what is seen on your screen, what I refer to as clutters. When doing that, you'll see here I have all of them on but activities. An activity is just a group of different things that you can put together. Think of it as a collection of different activities here. Routes and tracks are very similar. Routes are a smaller collection of waypoints in a track, where a track would be many different waypoints to achieve a goal. Routes show up here really well in the Explorer, but tracks do not. So you can see mostly I use routes in this. I wish Garmin would increase the usage of tracks on here. I think it's just a limitation of the amount of data could be shared over the web. But I think Garmin should invest in that area in all transparency. Then, as you store these different waypoints, one of the key things that you want to look at here after every trip is if you have any that are uncategorized. I don't like it when things are uncategorized, because to me, if it's uncategorized, it means I haven't done anything with it. So we're going to take this one here and look at it. Oh, well, we can see here as we zoom in, this is showing up, and it is in, I'm making sure what state it's in. I believe it's in South Dakota. It is. So as we zoom back in, I want to add this. I want to add this one here. Is I want to modify. So you have different options what I could do with this. So I chose this one, and I could choose a number. We'll choose Capital Rock as well. I can actually, we're not going to choose Capital Rock. Why not? We can modify an existing, right? So I have two of these chosen, and I can either add a new collection, I could delete these, I could see all of them on the map, I can create a new collection, or I can modify existing. We are going to modify an existing collection. A collection is a group of waypoints, activities, routes, and tracks. So I'm going to add this to my South Dakota. And you'll see here they come up in order. I can also search, but I know it's here. So I'm going to add this to my South Dakota one, and then save collection. So what I did now is you'll see here, in my collection, it's all been consolidated out of uncategorized into the other. So those waypoints removed. I have a track here. So snow run to Capital Rock. So let's move this over to Capital Rock. We're cleaning up while I'm on the thing. So we're going to move this over to the Capital Rock one just to show you again. So now I moved it from not collected. And the reason why it's not collected was I probably created a route when I was exploring, and I didn't save it to a collection. So it does create a mess, and so that's one way to clean it up. So I did that. Now, again, remember these are all quiet and they're all silent so you can see it. You can remember earlier we created a YouTube one. You can see the YouTube one is showing up. So if we want to see what we created in YouTube, we can. So you'll see here, here's the one route we created. Here's another one I created. This is actually the route we created. Right here, the yellow. And here's 90 that I created earlier. Here is another one that I created that's tied in. So here's the one we created earlier, and I want to zoom in on that because I want to point some things out. This kind of relates to what I said earlier, was when you create routes, you're going to have less benchmarks, right? So here we are at the route we created earlier going out to Bomb Crater, and has less benchmarks, right? So you can see here it only creates like the 3 different areas. Remember, we created a whole bunch when you look at it in the Garmin Tread app, which you'll see up here on the right. It shows you a complete route all the way through that we would take. Here it just does the 3 different waypoints getting there. That's the difference between a route and a track. A track will create all these little intervals along the way, whereas a route will just give you 3 key waypoints. And that is just the way things save in Explorer. It's not something I like. It is actually one of the pet peeves I have with Explorer. The good thing is, by saving this, I can see it, and save it in the Tread, I can save it there as well. I can also export from the Tread to create a GPX file that includes the tracks, but you won't see the tracks on this, on the Explorer app. So it is a drawback. So that was a route, and you can see how the ecosystem completes. So that is how that works. Now if you look at this Iron Nation one, this is more of a track that I created. So that was from my solo track that I created, and this is solo track all the way cross country across South Dakota. This was probably the first leg of that track. In fact, it was. I started way down here by the Minnesota border, went halfway through. The second half of this leads up to Kappa, and then it leads all the way up to the northern part of the border, and then it drops down to the Black Hills. Great route. Happy to share that with you. If you'd actually like to see that, just comment, let me know in the video, and I'm happy to share it, or any one of these. One of the other things I want to point out of the benefits, well, let me stop there and say that is how the ecosystem works. It's shared from the web to here. It shares it for other things. Shares it across the board. One of the things I absolutely love is I go into a lot of databases when I'm researching where I want to go. So by saving those databases or saving the GPX files, you can add a lot of things for future events or future things that you want to do to go explore. So for example, if you look at here, South Dakota ghost towns, there's 162 different areas. So this is South Dakota, Wyoming, and Montana ghost towns. And you'll see here, and churches. So these are old churches. I pulled this from a historical database. Harmony Church, Vinland, all these are ghost towns or remnants of ghost towns that have notes in them and that are shared here. So I went and looked them up, and I pulled them in there, and I map them. So like when we went out to run the as I mentioned earlier, we did and you'll see in the video here, we did a trip into the back roads. This is the trip. If you look up in the video here, this is the trip we took, starting here all the way through the back roads. The red is actually the route we took on that, and is basically what we did in our overland trip. So it synced up from my Tread to here and showed it here. So that's our overland trip that we took on the back roads to Devil's Tower. And in this route, I saved it along the way, but you can see here, we passed like Gustav, we passed Willett, which I did go see, but I didn't plan to go see this. I just noticed it along the way. Hey, I saved a ghost town, and I went and saw it. I did not get to the center of the geographic United States. That is a future trip. I'll probably go see Minnesota at the same time, and then head up there to go see it. So that is one of the benefits of saving a collection, is you are able to see it on the map for when you're planning. It also sync up to your Tread app. It'll also sync up to your Tread device. So if you're driving down the road and all of a sudden you see, hey, we're near Sulphur, I can take a side road. As I pull up and map different homesteads are out in the middle, which is on a different collection in here, that's oftentimes how I find them. I'll save them and say, hey, I'll put this for the future. We're driving around, and I'll notice it's a place I want to go. So that is the Tread Explorer Internet app in a nutshell. It's a great repository to save things, great repository to look and plan things. I would not build a route in here. I would build a route, but I would not build a track in here. So let's talk a little bit how you build a route. So I'm going to zoom in here, and we're just going to build a route up near where I was. You'll see here it does not have the level of detail that the Tread app does, which I'm disappointed in. I think in many cases Garmin is missing out by doing this. We're going to bring up the topo active map. So let's bring up the aerial map. You can see here as you go through the maps, it really doesn't do a lot, and you can look at the road map, doesn't do a lot. The topo active is okay. The topo is probably your best bet. Those are your different maps. So planning here is a good way to get a base plan, but then go in and edit it. So we're going to start at Mud Buttes and create it. You'll see here Mud Buttes, and then I'm going to make and you'll see here you have to add. So if I add it way over here, it's just going to do a straight line. I don't like that, right? So now you can grab this one point and move it around if you want to, or delete it, depending on what you want to do. So then we have to start over, right? So creating a route is okay at best, because you have to add a whole lot of little points. Let's say we want to go here, want to create a little bit of an adventure, want to go here, maybe we'll go there, maybe we'll go check out this. So I'm going through every single little point, which is just not fun. This is where I wish they would bring over some things to the Tread app to do it, right? Because I'm literally going through this where I could do this half the time in the Tread, and I think if you have the Tread, it should bring over those features into this app, and it would make it 10x better. Garmin, again, if you're listening, this is both sad and disappointing. So then I could change the color to orange and do all that. I'm not going to save it because I frankly don't do planning on here. I may do some changing, but since I do save everything here, it does sync up. And so that's why I say it's more of a repository, good way to review what you did. So when I go back into zooming out and look at like my last adventure, I can say, okay, wow, we covered a lot of ground, right? We went through this, went through here, we took a shortcut here, we did our, cut all the way along here, and we covered a lot of ground. We did, and it was fun, and I enjoyed it. So that's how, in a sense, you use the app, and you can use it really effectively. So I hope you liked my overview of Garmin Explorer, the web app. If you have any questions, feel free to ask it. You'll see, like, for example, here, I did a trip to Arizona. That was from a customer's request. He said, hey, I'm interested in this. I spent an hour with him on the phone. I don't mind helping people out, answering questions. So please remember, leave a comment. I will reply to it, and it is me replying. Both good and bad. I don't mind. And then like and subscribe. I appreciate you watching the video. Thank you.